What if nothing in your life has ever been random? Not the breakup, not the stranger who said the right thing at the right time, not the numbers you keep seeing or the dreams that echo into reality. What if these moments weren't coincidences, but messages? This is the last video you'll ever need to finally understand synchronicities. No fluff, no filters, no BS. Since childhood, you've been taught to dismiss these signs. You were told to trust data over instinct, reason over resonance. But deep down, you felt it. Those eerie alignments, those inner nudges, those undeniable patterns that keep repeating. And every time, a voice inside whispered, "There's something more to this. You're not crazy, you're waking up." In this video, we're going to unravel the mystery behind synchronicities, not as superstition, but as spiritual science. You'll learn why they happen, how to recognize them, and most importantly, how to use them to reshape your life from the inside out. Because the truth is, synchronicities are not just signs, they're invitations, and you've been receiving them all along. So ask yourself this: what if the universe has been speaking to you your entire life, and you're finally ready to answer? Most people go through life thinking coincidences are just that, random. But what if that song that played just as you were thinking of someone wasn't random at all? What if meeting the right person at the perfect time was a message, not an accident? These aren't flukes. These are synchronicities, whispers from the fabric of reality itself, nudging you toward awareness. This is the last video you'll need to understand why nothing that happens to you is meaningless. Reality is layered, not flat. Beneath the surface of cause and effect lies a deeper intelligence that communicates in symbols, timing, and resonance. Some call it the universe, others call it God, Source, or the divine matrix. But the language it speaks isn't verbal, it's experiential. It speaks in the serendipity that makes your hair stand on end, in the moment your heart skips when a sign appears. When seen clearly, synchronicities feel like the universe winking at you. Many ignore these signs because they're subtle. They don't crash into your life. They appear like a breeze carrying a scent from another world. The trick is presence. To catch them, you have to feel life, not just think about it. That's why the most powerful synchronicities often happen when we're in emotional flux, love, fear, surrender, when the logical mind relaxes and the soul tunes in. It's not random, it's a sacred alignment. These signs often come in patterns, a repeating number, a dream that plays out in reality, a stranger saying the exact words you needed to hear. You're not imagining it. These are ripple effects of a higher intelligence responding to your frequency. This is the last video you'll need to stop dismissing these events as silly, because what you think is chance is often divine choreography in disguise. Consider this: if reality were purely random, how could stories of thousands of people meeting soulmates through impossible odds even exist? How could one book, one quote, one conversation arrive just when someone's about to give up? These are cosmic interventions, orchestrated from realms you can't yet see. The more you look, the more you'll realize the universe is alive, and it's speaking directly to you. So the next time you experience a coincidence so perfect it feels uncanny, pause. Don't scroll past it. Ask yourself, what is this trying to show me? Because every synchronicity is an invitation, not to analyze with the intellect, but to awaken with the heart. And once you accept that invitation, your life will begin to feel less like a struggle and more like a guided path. From the moment we're born, something begins to fade, not because it's weak, but because it's not nurtured. That something is our intuitive connection to the universe. As children, we feel energies, imagine freely, and sense the unseen. But soon, we're taught to be realistic, to stop daydreaming, to ignore the pull of our inner world. Society calls it growing up. Spiritually, it's a gentle disconnection from the flow of synchronicities. We're trained to value logic above all. Schools reward memorization, not insight. Parents, with love but fear, teach us to follow the safe path, not the soul's whisper. Over time, we start trusting only what can be measured. But synchronicities aren't measurable. They're felt, lived, experienced in the gut and heart. That's why most adults miss them. Not because they're rare, but because we've been conditioned to look away. This is the last video you'll need to remember what you've forgotten. Your intuitive compass. It's not broken, it's buried. Beneath layers of skepticism and social programming lies a sensitivity that once guided you through life like music in the background. And it's still there, humming quietly, waiting for you to tune back in. Every moment of coincidence you've brushed off was a reminder of your original connection. Reawakening this sense isn't about rejecting logic, it's about balancing it. Let your mind analyze, but let your heart confirm. A synchronicity might not make sense at first, but if it moves you, it matters. Children don't ask for proof, they feel and follow. To return to synchronicity is to return to that innocence, with the wisdom of your adult self as the anchor. Even your doubts are part of the plan. The very resistance you feel to believing in synchronicities is a product of the conditioning itself. Notice it, question it, then go beyond it. Because once you do, the universe responds instantly. It's not withholding signs. It's waiting for you to look, and when you do, you'll see the signals never stopped. You just stopped believing they were real. Education, as it's commonly structured, doesn't just teach facts. It teaches what kind of truths are acceptable. From an early age, we sit in rows, raise our hands, and memorize what others have discovered. But we're rarely taught to discover for ourselves. Spiritual insight, inner knowing, mystical experience, these are absent from the curriculum, and with that absence, something sacred is suppressed. This is the last video you'll need to realize that what school left out is just as important as what it included. You weren't taught to listen to dreams, feel energy, or trust the still voice within. Instead, you were given equations, rules, and deadlines, tools of the mind, not the spirit. And so you began to equate truth with authority and dismissed your inner senses as childish or irrational. But education wasn't always like this. In ancient mystery schools, learning was about initiation, about unlocking hidden layers of the self. Wisdom wasn't in books alone, but in silence, ritual, and direct experience. Synchronicities were not coincidences, they were signs from the divine. Somewhere along the way, modern systems erased that, and in doing so, they made many forget that knowledge can also be mystical. Some of the greatest minds, Da Vinci, Jung, even Newton, believed in what can't be measured. They explored sacred geometry, astrology, and the unconscious. They understood that reality has dimensions the intellect can't grasp alone. But our schools don't mention that. Why? Because a person who sees synchronicities everywhere becomes hard to control. They stop obeying and start listening to something much deeper. The truth is, every time you experienced a powerful synchronicity in your life, it was a form of unlearning, a reminder that wisdom doesn't come only from textbooks, but also from moments that defy explanation. A butterfly landing at just the right moment, a teacher's words echoing a dream. These are the soul's way of saying, you're learning more than you think. So ask yourself, what would your life look like if you reclaimed the education that was never offered to you? Not degrees and diplomas, but spiritual discernment, intuitive trust, and the ability to read the symbols all around you. Because the truth is, you're already enrolled in the real school. Life is the teacher. Synchronicity is the curriculum. Modern science loves control, lab results, repeatable outcomes, numbers that fit neatly into charts. But reality isn't always neat. Carl Jung saw this firsthand. He coined the term synchronicity to describe meaningful coincidences that couldn't be explained by cause and effect. He wasn't being poetic, he was observing a real phenomenon. Yet even today, society dismisses it as fantasy. Why? Because synchronicity challenges the dominant worldview. It suggests that consciousness affects matter, that the universe has a mind, that reality is interactive. Jung collaborated with physicist Wolfgang Pauli, a Nobel Prize winner, to explore this very idea. They believed the psyche and the physical world were intertwined through hidden patterns. But try mentioning that in a mainstream classroom, you'll be laughed out of the room. This is the last video you'll need to understand. The ones who shaped our modern world, Tesla, Einstein, Jung, believed in deeper layers of reality. Tesla said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." That's the very foundation of synchronicities. They aren't random, they resonate with your internal state. Change your thoughts and you'll change what shows up. But society paints these ideas as woo-woo or delusional. Why? Because empowering people to see patterns, to sense energy, to follow intuition, that makes them sovereign, harder to manipulate. Synchronicity teaches you to trust your own experience over the noise, and that's dangerous to any system that profits from your doubt. Science isn't the enemy, it's the filter. And when the filter gets too narrow, it blocks out mystery. The beauty is, even scientists are catching on. Studies on consciousness, quantum entanglement, and heart-brain coherence are pointing toward a truth ancient mystics already knew. That reality bends to awareness, and synchronicities are the ripples from that bend. So when you see repeating numbers or hear a lyric that hits like a lightning bolt, remember this: you're not crazy, you're connected. You're witnessing what thinkers across time tried to explain but couldn't fit into equations. Let that sink in and let it lead you to the next revelation. What if everything around you is responding to you in real time? At the core of it all, matter, thoughts, emotions, is energy. Everything vibrates. This isn't just spiritual poetry, it's physics. When you think, you emit a frequency. When you feel joy, love, fear, or doubt, your vibration shifts. The universe doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your energy. This is the last video you'll need to truly feel how synchronicities are born from these subtle frequencies. Think of the universe like a mirror, but it doesn't reflect your face, it reflects your vibration. Ever notice how bad days attract more problems? Or how a moment of pure clarity brings miracles? That's resonance. Your frequency draws in matching experiences. And synchronicities, they're like cosmic echoes, showing you what you're currently aligned with, sometimes subtly, sometimes in ways that shake your core. This is why spiritual teachers have always emphasized presence, gratitude, meditation, not as rituals, but as tuners. They fine-tune your frequency, making you receptive to higher patterns. You become like a radio dial, finally aligned with the signal of your destiny. The more refined your energy, the more precise the synchronicities. They stop being occasional surprises and become an ongoing conversation with life itself. Some might say, "But I don't feel anything." That's only because they're still tuned into noise, fear, distraction, disbelief. But the moment you quiet the mind, even for a second, something shifts. You begin to notice the patterns, the time on the clock, the way someone says exactly what you were thinking. These aren't tricks, they're validations, the invisible making itself known. The truth is, reality is far more participatory than we were taught. You're not just living in the universe, you're co-vibrating with it. Every thought is a signal, every emotion a frequency, and synchronicities. They're feedback loops, clues, indicators that you're in tune or out of tune, but either way, they're gifts, whispers from the field reminding you of your creative power. So, start asking, what am I broadcasting? What frequency am I living on? Because once you shift the station, your entire life can begin to change. Not from effort, but from resonance. And that's when synchronicities stop being rare and start becoming your new normal. Take a moment and reflect. What's the most powerful or uncanny synchronicity you've ever experienced? That moment that made you stop and think, there's no way this is just coincidence. Drop it in the comments. I'd truly love to hear your story. Sometimes your experience is the exact sign someone else needs to see. Let's make this space a living field of synchronicities. Most of what shapes your life doesn't happen in your conscious mind. It happens in the deep, silent chambers of your subconscious, the part of you that never sleeps. It watches everything, records everything, and quietly steers your reality. This is the last video you'll need to understand how synchronicities often originate from within, long before they appear without. Your subconscious mind is like a hidden architect. While your conscious self wrestles with decisions, your subconscious is busy connecting the dots, finding patterns, noticing symbols, interpreting the energetic blueprint of your thoughts and beliefs. And when it finds a match, it manifests it in your outer world, a person, a song, a number, a chance event. That's not chance. It's a subconscious ripple becoming reality. This is why inner work is so powerful. Journaling, shadow work, meditation, these practices don't just make you feel better. They reprogram the subconscious. They shift the lens through which you experience the world. And as that lens changes, so do your synchronicities. You begin to attract symbols and opportunities that align with your new vibration, your new story. Have you ever thought of someone and they suddenly text you? Or had a dream that later played out in waking life? That's your subconscious already ahead of you. It's sensing, preparing, weaving. It doesn't use words. It speaks in symbols, archetypes, impulses. And the more you work with it, the clearer the synchronicities become. What once seemed random begins to form a language. But there's a catch. If your subconscious is filled with fear, shame, or limiting beliefs, it will organize your life to match those too. This is why some people attract chaos over and over. It's not fate, it's programming. The good news, you can rewrite it, and once you do, synchronicities begin to serve you, not sabotage you. You become the author of your own pattern. So start listening to your dreams. Pay attention to recurring themes in your life. They're not accidents. They're the echoes of your subconscious trying to reach you, trying to awaken you, because once you hear it clearly, the outside world changes with it, not magically, but mysteriously. And that's the real power of synchronicity. Two people can live the same moment, but only one sees the sign. Why? Because perception is creation. What you expect, you find. What you're open to, you receive. The mind isn't just a lens, it's a filter, a translator, a projector. This is the last video you'll need to see how your perception doesn't just color your world. It literally selects your reality, and with it, the synchronicities you notice. Imagine you buy a red car, and suddenly you see red cars everywhere. Did the world change? No, you did. Your awareness tuned into a frequency that was always there. Synchronicities work the same way. The more you believe in their presence, the more they appear. Not because they're multiplying, but because you're awakening to what was always there. The skeptic says, that's just confirmation bias. But what if confirmation bias is a spiritual law? What if focusing your attention literally bends reality to meet your belief? Countless mystics and quantum physicists alike suggest that observation changes outcome. So if you expect magic, your life starts to look magical. Expect nothing, and you'll only see the mundane. This is why some people walk through life as if the world is dead, grey, flat, meaningless, while others live in a dance of symbols, signs, and sacred alignments. It's not luck, it's perspective. It's a frequency of receiving, and it's available to anyone willing to shift from skepticism to curiosity. Because once you switch that internal dial, life reveals itself differently. You might start seeing numbers that mirror your thoughts, hearing phrases in movies that answer your inner questions, meeting people whose presence feels too timely to be chance. And the more you engage with it, the more your perception sharpens, like developing spiritual eyesight. It's not about making things up, it's about finally seeing what was hidden. So ask yourself, am I tuned in to a world of meaning or randomness? Because your perception is the gatekeeper. And once you choose to perceive through the eyes of synchronicity, you'll realize the universe has been trying to get your attention for a long time. You just had to look. Synchronicities are more than signs. They're invitations. They don't just say, "Hey, pay attention." They whisper, "Come closer." Each one is like a sacred envelope, sealed with mystery, holding an opportunity for transformation. This is the last video you'll need to understand that synchronicities are not passive events. They are calls to action, and what you do with them shapes your path. Ever get a sudden opportunity that feels both exciting and terrifying? Or meet someone who feels familiar even though you just met? These aren't accidents. They're junction points. The universe sending you a clue wrapped in curiosity, asking, will you follow? And when you do, when you act, the signal amplifies. More signs follow. The path begins to unfold, but most people freeze. They intellectualize, second-guess, rationalize their way out of magic. It's probably nothing, they say, and the moment passes. The invitation expires, not as punishment, but as respect, because the universe honors your free will. It can nudge, but never push. To walk the path of synchronicity, you must respond with trust, not logic alone. Acting on synchronicity often feels like leaping into the unknown. That's how you know it's real. It doesn't always make sense at first, but something in your soul recognizes it. And if you've ever followed a nudge and found yourself in exactly the right place, meeting exactly the right person, you've felt the reward, the door that opened because you walked toward it. So, when the next sign appears, a dream, a symbol, a strange encounter, don't just observe it. Engage with it. Ask what it wants to show you. Take the next small step, even if it's just writing it down or reflecting in silence. Because the moment you treat a synchronicity as sacred, you send a message back to the universe. I'm listening, I'm ready. And that simple shift turns life into a dialogue. No longer are you just surviving, you're co-navigating, co-creating, answering the knocks of destiny. And every time you say yes to the invitation, the signs get louder and the path gets clearer. There's a secret to deepening the synchronicities in your life. Trust, not just belief, but embodied trust. Trust that what you feel is real, that the nudges are worth following, that the universe does have your back. This is the last video you'll need to see that the more you act on synchronicities, the more they appear. It's not superstition, it's spiritual physics. Imagine synchronicities like a dialogue. You receive a sign, you respond, you follow the guidance, another sign comes. But if you ignore the message, the dialogue weakens. Not out of punishment, but because you're signaling disinterest. Just like a conversation, it thrives when both sides are engaged. And the more you engage, the clearer the messages become. Think of the first time you trusted an inner voice, even when it made no sense and it led to a breakthrough. Or the moment you followed a random impulse, only to land exactly where you needed to be. Those aren't isolated events, they're clues. The universe rewards courage, not just curiosity. It wants to know, will you move when I whisper or only when I shout? Taking action doesn't always mean making a big change. Sometimes it means writing the dream down, sending that message, showing up somewhere your heart feels drawn. These small responses are signals of willingness, and the more you trust that process, the more the universe starts to meet you halfway. You become a participant in your own unfolding. But let's be honest, trust isn't always easy. Doubt creeps in. The mind wants guarantees. But synchronicities don't come with warranties, they come with wonder, and wonder is what rewires you. It's what reopens the heart. So when the signs seem small or strange, lean in anyway. Even a whisper can change the course of your life. Because in the end, synchronicity is a mirror. It reflects your openness, your receptivity, your trust. The more you show up for it, the more it shows up for you. And soon you realize this isn't about waiting for signs. It's about becoming the kind of person who lives in a constant state of divine conversation. Not all synchronicities are obvious. Some are loud, like seeing 11:11 on the clock every day. Others are soft, like overhearing a conversation that answers your silent question. But all of them are meant to be decoded. This is the last video you'll need to learn how to work with synchronicities. Not just witness them passively. Start with awareness. Carry a synchronicity journal, digital or handwritten, and note the patterns. Repeating numbers, symbols, names, animals, emotions. At first, it may seem random, but over time, you'll begin to see threads. It's like assembling a puzzle with invisible edges. What felt meaningless becomes meaningful. The chaos reveals a hidden code. Some patterns are universal, like 111 signaling alignment or 444 offering protection. Others are personal, your grandmother's favorite song playing on the radio when you feel lost. There's no one-size-fits-all. That's the beauty. The universe speaks your language, and it will use whatever symbols mean the most to you. Music, dreams, déjà vu, even mistakes that lead you to clarity. When synchronicities show up, ask yourself 3 questions. What was I thinking or feeling right before this happened? What does this symbol mean to me intuitively? What small action can I take to honor it? These questions turn random events into sacred messages. They transform life into a feedback loop of personal growth, insight, and realignment. You can also create rituals to enhance your sensitivity. Light a candle each time you experience a synchronicity. Pause and breathe when you see repeating numbers. Say a word of thanks when something improbable helps you. These simple acts anchor the experience into your subconscious and tell the universe you're paying attention. Eventually, decoding synchronicities becomes second nature. You stop needing proof because you've lived the evidence. You trust the unseen because it's guided you so many times. And with that trust, the signs become clearer, stronger, more frequent. They stop being anomalies and become your compass. Once you understand synchronicity, you realize something incredible. You're not a passive receiver of signs, you're a co-creator of them. This is the last video you'll ever need to shift from wondering why synchronicities happen to learning how to consciously invite them. Because the truth is, you've always had a role in the dance. You just didn't know the steps. Everything begins with intention, not wishful thinking, but clear, grounded intention, what you desire, how you want to feel, the essence of what you're calling in. When your energy aligns with that intention, synchronicities start flowing like rivers toward you, not by accident, but because you've moved into resonance. That's not luck, that's spiritual design. But intention without energy is incomplete. You must live the frequency of your desire. If you want peace, become peaceful. If you seek love, radiate love. If you desire opportunity, act with courage. Synchronicities are drawn to your vibration. They are cosmic responses to the emotional, mental, and spiritual tones you emit. Every thought, every action is a signal. This is where most people get stuck. They wait, but conscious creators don't wait. They create momentum, they meditate, they visualize, they journal. They express gratitude for signs yet to come. And the more they live as if their reality is aligning, the more it does. Synchronicities begin to appear not to surprise them, but to confirm the path they've already chosen. So what if, instead of hoping for signs, you lived as though they were inevitable? What if you walked each day expecting the universe to speak because you've learned how to listen? Becoming a conscious creator is not about control, it's about collaboration. And when you step into that role, life feels less chaotic and more enchanted. Your life becomes a sacred conversation, your mind a transmitter, your heart a magnet. Synchronicities aren't separate from you, they're expressions of your inner alignment. And once you own that truth, you stop chasing signs and start living as the one who creates them. So now you know, synchronicities are not random, they're not luck, and they're definitely not meaningless. They are messages, reflections, invitations from a reality far more alive and intelligent than you were ever taught to believe. And they've been showing up for you all along, waiting for you to see, to listen, and to respond. If there's one truth to remember from this video, it's this: you are not separate from the signs. Your thoughts, emotions, and intentions create ripples that echo back through synchronicities. The more aware and aligned you become, the more life starts feeling less like a struggle and more like a dance. And in that dance, you're no longer just surviving, you're creating. So start small. Keep a synchronicity journal. Ask your dreams for answers. Set clear intentions and act on your inner nudges. Every step you take tells the universe, I'm awake. And when you live like that, synchronicities stop being rare. They become your second language. Now I'd love to hear from you. What synchronicities have shown up in your life recently? Have you ever followed one and had it change everything? Share your story in the comments. I read them all. Let's co-create a space where others can feel less alone on this journey. And if this video resonated with you, subscribe and turn on notifications. This channel is a sanctuary for those who are done with surface-level answers and are ready to explore life's hidden dimensions. Because this isn't just content, it's confirmation.